Welcome back to the
Hey.
after party.
Hey, you're here.
Ooh.
Wait, if this is a party, where's my cake?
You know, I was going to order it, but
But what?
I
But then he didn't.
But I didn't.
I was told there's going to be cake.
I know.
Yeah.
Like,
At least cookies.
yeah. Like,
Wow.
Cookies would have been nice.
come on, dude.
So this will be our, well, technically not episode 30. This is our 30th recording of season 2. The talk. The what are we going to call this?
You can't call it the talk because the talk is something else.
This is the talk where we it's time
No.
really.
This is
I'm not answering to any of those questions. And if you have people call in right now, I am out the door.
yep.
I would say
Our retrospective.
retrospective.
That's the word that I can never remember.
Aftergloat.
Mm-hmm.
Aftergloat. That's good.
Their victory lap.
Victory lap's good too. Yeah.
So here we are, sitting at the table.
Mm-hmm.
You guys won.
Yep.
Yep.
There's going to be some nice bread and some dwarven stew are sitting around the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that Xenia feels like she won.
No?
No. I mean, yes, she made some new friends, but she also, Tommy's still dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She still thinks that Tommy died for no reason.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Like, what was the he didn't tell us anything.
Well,
so you think he would have
the
told
only
us?
thing he said was basically, it was kind of like Bison's speech in Street Fighter. For me, it was a Tuesday. It was just like one of his underlings thought that Tommy was a threat, and so
Sure.
he just disposed of him. He didn't really care about Tommy at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
He was like collateral damage just to do a favor for someone.
yeah. And then, her other friends from,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Trunk's still gone.
don't know. And,
Yeah.
Bramble back in the
I
woods.
feel like Trunk's doing like this Batman Begins kind of thing, like this training in the middle of the forest.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I that was like kind of a walkabout,
Oh, sure.
Mm.
coming to terms with who he is. And I don't know. I don't know what the future's going to hold there.
So it's like, I mean, yeah, avoided the immediate threat. But
Well, in that case,
Yeah.
I can see like destroying the key being a final, like a win for you, because it seems like
Yeah.
he was just in the way, Vesner was just in the way. It wasn't like the baddie was stopping this going into his hands
Mhm.
that moment.
Yeah.
So I can see how, in that perspective, how like finishing it with make sure no one else has to go through this again.
Yep.
It's just then again, how would we destroy it?
Right. But I
have
think
no idea.
I think that's Xenia's perspective.
I think that's Yeah. the question that needs to be answered in order to figure out if anything else needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Is the key even destroyable?
Yeah.
Can it be destroyed? We can find that out, and if it is, then then we have the question of, do we just leave it here and walk away, or do you want to make it your new home away from home in the middle of nowhere?
If someone's going to give me the
Well, because we don't actually want to spend an hour talking right now, but let me give you a couple answers to that.
Okay.
And it sounds like we whether or not it ultimately matters. I know loot's fun at the end.
Yep.
So you would find, I'm pretty sure, unless you come up with some other crazy idea, that you do not have the power to destroy the key.
Okay.
It is an ancient magic exceeding the ability for you to damage with mundane or magical weapons or spells that I know that you have at your disposals.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean
terribly
it's not
surprising.
indestructible. Even if it does mean traveling across the country and tossing it in Mount Doom. I mean, there's probably some place you can.
Xenia firmly believes that anything can be destroyed.
Right.
Yeah. It's an article of faith for her.
It is.
It is.
Absolutely.
Someone made it.
Somebody
That's
can
right.
destroy it.
It can be destroyed.
So, I mean, that will have to be an unanswered thing. So, however long you choose to say, I spend a week trying to do it, you would come to the conclusion you don't know how to do it right now, and that may become a point of quest.
Being that there's ley lines involved, I would like to talk to the Earth Elders before I make a final decision, and because this is what they do.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm going to bring them the key. I'm just going to let them know that perhaps, because not that they would take it, but how it could be. Maybe they have more knowledge about how it can destroy. Maybe there's something that was passed on by the giants, or afterwards of how this can be destroyed, or like, is this? Do they know of this weapon? I have not talked to them for quite some time. I would personally want some advisement on what to do. So,
Okay.
but traveling by that could be there, but I can travel pretty fast now if I wanted to just giant falcon it and take off. But that's just my own personal thing because there are ley lines involved, and I know I'm guessing, right? I mean, it's not coincidental that where this thing is located.
No, there's zero coincidence. So,
Okay.
I mean, because part of what I want to do here is give you answers, and then let's talk about the season as experience. Sure. So, if those are some of the answers you want, I think you could actually figure some of that out.
Okay.
If you guys, we spend 3 or 4 days here, and then make decisions.
Okay.
Daerun, you would be able to come to the conclusion on your own that and I think, assuming that you guys just don't kill the dwarves right away, that there is this monstrous engine in here, and that while the key starts this thing, it also needs a jump.
Oh,
and so it's at the intersection of these 3 ley lines.
Gotcha.
And you think that activating it is going to basically draw the power of the ley lines into this machine to jumpstart its heart. That is the purpose of that. So
got it.
That would not require you to go talk to them. You could find out more about the ley lines or more about the other menhirs in here. But ultimately, you're pretty sure that the reason it was parked here before whatever they were going to use it next was so that they could restart it.
Okay.
Oh.
And that probably is going to be a requirement, you think, between it's going to need power every time to restart.
So anytime it gets turned off, if it's not on a ley line.
It needs a lot of it needs a lot of magical juice to get going.
So technically that if you can't destroy it, why couldn't we just take it somewhere and have it off the ley line, turn off the key? It can't get restarted at that point unless they drag the behemoth to a ley line.
Or use some other massive source of magic.
Right.
Exactly.
Or somehow destroy the engine, the motor. I mean, there's physical gears involved.
Yeah. I mean,
while it's parked, that way multiple things. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot there. It would require, could you disable this thing? I think maybe with enough time and people and effort and machines.
Yeah.
Because most of the machinery in here are the colossal, magically forged steel.
Sure.
It's not just I'm going to go down there with a hammer.
Yeah.
Any tools that you have and you go beating on doesn't do anything.
We got some dwarves and engineers here, though.
Yeah. So, I that may be an ultimate answer.
Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
But it still kind of begs the question: is what you want to do with it? It could also, if you think, I go park it somewhere else. I mean, somebody might be able to reroute a ley line, possibly. I mean, it's not like it wouldn't. It's not like it would be impossible. So, I mean, the final probably is getting rid of this key.
Okay. Fair enough.
The key is definitely the weak point. It's what's kept it anchored here for the last couple thousand years.
And it's the only thing that can start it.
Yeah, it's definitely unique.
So we might doom it.
Well, I can, if we put it in a box made with a couple of inches of lead, so it can't be scryed on or anything. I can swim down and put it at the bottom of the river by my village. And, no one, and then.
Well, a lead box by yourself?
Going down is easy. If I tried to retrieve it would be a problem.
One thing is, anybody finding out you're doing this is a liability.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That
he'd have to kill you all when he's done.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing about all these three.
Yeah.
No. I'd have to kill all of them.
Yeah.
We're just all Mexican standoff.
Yep.
An unmarked box at night in the river. It's not, it's
unusual.
It's not a parade by any means. It's not going to attract attention.
I'm also okay with Mount Dooming it.
Rather than the river, what if we put it into a lake, like the lake over by the Zacad? I mean, just because a river is something that's vast.
Well, the only thing I was thinking is that way, if someone starts like trawling the river, I'll probably see them.
Just keep it close to home.
If you're around.
I was going to say,
keep it secret. Keep
you'll
it
also
safe.
be dead one day.
Yeah.
And the secret will go with me.
Until somebody just finds it. And
then
then
she bites into a carrot from the stew.
Yeah.
You will be dead one day.
Yeah. And somebody comes across this lead box. Oh, what's this? And then it begins again.
I feel a little trepidation about. It's a good idea to keep people away, but we did deal last season with a fairy that took a drought of the river and cleared the river completely out. Right? Remember the water fairy?
Yeah.
And the river was gone. Right?
Yeah.
So there's people in this power who have the power to just completely dry bed the river.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they just walk in and pick it up.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. All right.
I mean, it's a fun conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I don't know where we want to leave that off. I don't think we should spend 20 more minutes talking about it.
Now that we know, are we all in agreement that this key shouldn't be nowhere near this machine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So problem solved there. It needs to be destroyed or
we'll figure it out.
Stashed.
So at the very least, if we never come back to it, it's in a lead box at the bottom of the river.
Yep.
Down by.
As far as anyone knows, nobody will actually know. It's the
story there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a secret.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to keep a secret between two people is if one of them is dead.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. So, who knows?
Yeah.
So, who knows?
PvP.
Someone gets captured and gets tortured to give it up.
Well, what goodies did we
you want to do the goodies real quick?
Yeah.
Yes,
what goodies did this group of people provide for us?
Goodies. Yeah. Vezran's goodies shop. It's what I'm labeling this in my book.
Yeah. He had a few things. Now, it's not like he had this entire, I think the one that piqued most people's interest was the ring he was using.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a pretty powerful ring. But what it is, it's a ring of spell storing.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I got a lot of usage out of that. So you basically can cast a spell and store it in it. And then you can recast it basically as a standard action later.
Oh.
So the value of that and the way I got all of the mileage out of it, I did because we are playing Pathfinder P6.
Mm-hmm.
The only way you can get 4th level spells in Pathfinder P6 is using ritual magic. Vezran had a single ritual magic spell, which was Dimension Door, which is why he could only use it one time a day because fortunately you gave him a full day between his usages of it, is he had to go spend an hour and recast Dimension Door into that ring. So it was a one shot for him, one per day. But the cool thing is as any as a wizard, you could eventually get a 4th level ritual, and then that does really give you a 4th level spell a day. So it's potentially a really powerful item. So there's that. The second thing he got a lot of mileage out of, we saw it in some back scenes, and he used it a few times. He has this shriveled hand that he wore around his neck. Now, it does radiate necromantic magic. So it has this evil aura to it, but it actually doesn't have evil magic per se. What it does is cast Hold Person one time a day with a really high DC. So this is not a normal. It had an unusually high caster level. Now there's a lot of I drew things like, in actual D&D, there's like the Hand of Vecna, and there's like this idea. All of that kind of goes back to these where there's a mythology about getting the hand of murderers. I don't know if people listening have all heard about it, or how well known that is, but that's like a thing where. So this is basically a murderer's hand, and what it does, and it's loosely based on mythology, is it casts Hold Person 1 time a day. It's treated as like caster level 10, and it has a DC 25, which is what he used on Tommy, which when Tommy back then had no chance of saving. He also used it on Daerun, which I was confident was going to work. And then you rolled like a 30-something, which was maddening.
Got something still up in their noggin.
But what he used on Zinnia, he just cast Hold Person on you. Regular.
Thanks.
Yeah. Because otherwise, So it is still a powerful item, but you would just feel uncomfortable having your possession, at least unless you're just a particularly bad person. But anyway,
morally ambivalent.
The shriveled hand of Hold Person. He has another ring of protection +2. He has a pair of boots of levitation, and he had the wand of lightning, which you got. It's a lightning bolt 3 times a day. That is going to be caster level. No, it's actually like caster level 6, so it does 66.
Nice.
3 times a day. It's a really actually pretty powerful wand. And then the last thing he had, which you did get to see if you went back and listened, he has the magic carriage. I just called it the magic carriage. It's a 6-inch dark wood carriage that you can use 2 times a day, and it casts the spell Conjured Carriage, it's a spell. Basically, it creates a full-size carriage with 6 that can hold up to 6 people in it, and can fly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and flying carriage.
Yeah.
That we're going to keep. That we might get some mileage out of.
Yeah. So
literally.
It basically is a carriage pulled by a pair of Pegasi, and so it is actually really powerful item.
How long is it activated once you activate it? For how?
Pretty long. It is 6 hours.
So, and you can do that 2 times a day. So you could fly for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Stop off for a potty break. Have some lunch. Fly again, and do 12 hours of flying every day.
Yep, it's pretty absurd. It's kind of game breaking.
And what's the speed on it? What's the fly speed?
It's not super fast. I think it probably has a fly speed of 40.
Oh.
Let me go look up Pegasus here.
They should fly at least as fast as me.
You're super fast. Well, Pegasi have a fly speed of 120. Okay, it would actually it would be faster. Okay, so but pulling a carriage, that's a good point. I don't think I ever wrote it down. Well, assume it has a fly speed of at least 100. Okay. So that's stupidly fast, and that was how he would get around.
Okay. So that's kind of cool because
that does a lot. It gets you can get places now.
Yeah. Now, how far away is Nightbridge, out of curiosity? Where Ismay is located.
Okay. So Kingsbridge is not where you are from.
Okay.
Because Kingsbridge, okay, now you're gonna make me look up distances. You can't. I don't think you could probably get to Kingsbridge in one day with this thing easy. But that's not where you want to go. You want to go to the. Okay, I have to pull up a map.
No problem.
I don't want to get too far into that as far as what you think you're going to do. But if your plan is to, what do you guys see your individual next steps? Let's do that real quick.
Well, we still have the whole issue of, and we haven't discussed it, is the fact that they're trying to basically the machinations of the humans about the duchy. And that hasn't been resolved yet. This was just this was something that got involved with it. But we still have actual bad humans who are trying to manipulate who the next Duke is going to be.
Yep, we did. That was kind of all at a tertiary. Like this wasn't a big political plotted drama.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't what I was going for, but that is fully in the background.
Yeah.
So you should, if you hadn't, the mayor of Raven Rock was clearly in cahoots with Vesrin. The mayor had his own agenda. He thought Vesrin's was in alignment, but Vesrin was just manipulating him because he just needed allies and power and various things. So, but once he felt like the mayor was no longer any use to them, I mean, that was why he just kind of almost bailed on him. So yeah, there is still some stuff going on with them trying to do this vote and potentially throw favor and ask for this intercession, which will allow the towns of this duchy to allow another duke to appoint a temporary duke so they can do this vote to determine who's going to be in charge of the kingdom. So I don't know. I found all that stuff sort of objectively interesting, but at the same time, it was not in the forefront. You kept thinking the mayor was the main villain.
Yeah.
He has his own devices, and we didn't get to wrap that up because he kind of bailed, right? He disappeared. You guys went looking for him, and he realized, he was in a jam, and that's just one of those things where that story kind of will continue to progress on its own, and where you guys will fit or not fit into it, I don't know.
Okay.
Now, from Ismi's perspective,
that's why she came.
Are they evil? Like these are people. This is all. That's where it's a little bit Game of Thrones, right? You've got people vying for power.
Yep.
Which side's the right side?
Yeah, and that's the thing. But that's originally why Morgan went there, was because of it, and that's what got Morgan killed. So for Ismi, that would be the thing that she would want to have answers about, because that's why she came there.
Yeah, so like a lot of the little things you guys saw, what was basically in order to get people scared, right? That because basically Raven Rock is one of the largest towns of this duchy.
Mm-hmm.
But he wanted to create uncertainty so that they would vote and say, yeah, let's do this interception. That's really all his plot was.
Yeah.
So Vesrin was giving him resources. So they hired mercenaries to which you guys ultimately killed, but basically to start acting like bandits.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all these little different things going on. We didn't ever really go back to where the season started. Like when you guys, even season one,
right?
Like the sick, that was that was intentionally done.
Yes.
That they poisoned the well with the intent to kill a bunch of people. And I think you guys probably kind of figured it out, but you didn't ever figure out exactly who did it.
No.
That was done by one of their minions. They're like, yeah, let's create chaos, but just enough. They didn't want to kill the town off. They just wanted to incite fear. Well, so that's how both seasons tied together. And then you guys got involved and started becoming progressively more in the way of these little plots of theirs. Right.
We do so well.
And you did. Well, I mean, that's the whole point, right? You're heroes.
Yeah.
The water plot wasn't part of it. The going and dealing with the goblins. That was just, they actually let's go. They can go deal with that and maybe get killed or not, which you guys didn't. And you solved another problem. They became more powerful. So that was where you became more and more of a threat to their plans, which is why they did what they did to Tommy, which is really still technically a loose end.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to leave it that way because I don't know what the future holds.
Okay.
That is going to be one of those painful, unanswered questions.
What? The why Tommy?
Why Tommy?
Well, why Tommy? But you never, you
still
never,
don't know what happened to his
You
body.
still don't know exactly. And I do. And I it's one of those things I kind of want to talk about it, but I think it would kind of spoil it too. So.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. We'll see. We'll see if Jeff is able to come back after school or not. I don't know. What other questions you guys have? So we're where do you think your character's going to go after this? Because Ismay, it sounds like you would want to take the crown back.
Well, no, remember, I sent the crown back because I thought we were going to all die. She thought we were all going to die doing this. Like, I mean, she pretty much thought, we're going to go, and there's a very good chance.
Well, where we left off, because you guys went round and round and round,
okay,
is you had the plan that Bramble would go do that.
Yes.
So when this ends, it's still in Pike's basement or in the hole. So that frees, I mean, if your arc thinks you would then take it back.
Yeah. Bramble was going to take the crown back if we all died.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have to get a note to Bramble saying, hey, good news. We're still alive.
Okay.
You're off the hook. So I'll do that.
So Zinnia will probably, I mean, you've been away for a long time. So maybe you go back to the woods for a while to live deliberately.
I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Zinnia's probably going to have to do a little soul searching at this point.
Well, Pike's had the most stressful couple of weeks of his life. So he would definitely go back for a couple weeks just to kind of reconnect with the community. Maybe put out feelers about offloading some of the junk in his little hidey hole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if after a few weeks, if Ismay needed some like mind probing help with her thing, he would probably be willing to go help her. But he needs some downtime. He's killed an awful lot of people, and his mental abilities have expanded tremendously in a very short period of time. So he needs to get to know himself a little.
So I'm just imagining you sitting on the dock there, trying to relax, looking out over the water, but at the same time knowing there's a key to a super weapon right over there.
Yep.
You can never quite look at the river again.
The same way.
I mean, Ismay, you could take this carriage and fly back with the crown and
come back. With the carriage, she can come back at any point. Ismay her patron, she's cynical. She works around people who want power, and she's kind of like this person that sits kind of behind them and watches them. And that's why she will never mention the super weapon, because she knows, she's seen how people get blinded by wanting power. And you can't give someone like that the beast. And she knows that. So she's never going to say anything. And I think in some ways, because now she's lost Morgan, who was probably her true friend. Like, she was probably like the one person she trusted. She now has these 3 people that she's kind of become friends with. So I don't think this is like the last you would see of. I think she would find ways to come back. And of course, when she goes to the patron, she's going to say, this is what we found. Here's the crown. And this is what's going on. People are actively trying to disrupt the duchy.
Okay.
She said there's still work to be done. And she has contacts there now. So she would probably take over in Morgan's stead, because that was probably Morgan's regular, that would be where they'd send Morgan. She probably had the contact. She knew the people. But Morgan's gone, but now Ismay has contacts.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I could see then, though, we'll leave that with the assumption that you fly off probably with your portion of the wealth and to return the crown.
Well, and if you want, I can probably take quite a bit of that and bring back the money for these guys.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Yeah, I've got the carriage, so I could go there, come back.
And so you got, however you guys divide that up. So you would end up back in the political game.
Yeah.
Okay. Darren, what do you think?
I've definitely I explained it earlier. I would probably go back home, collect everything I would have. I kind of want to go speak to the Earth Elders, and I do want their input on. I trust them. Of the key, I don't know where to put the key though for now, but I'd want that kind of input. And this, I think I need a little bit more answers of what to do next, kind of, because, obviously my job was to be an apprentice and kind of rebuild these temples in town. And I kind of feel like I got off path a little bit. And so I kind of want to go, maybe go look for a greater purpose and get their input in it. Wisdom.
Yeah.
You had a few distractions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
So you probably end up, traveling at least to Kingsbridge and perhaps farther to go the societal headquarters of these Earth Elders. And,
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know that Zinnia can let the key thing go.
Like long term, or just, it seems like you guys have a short term solution.
Yeah, but long term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to plague her.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think she's just like, I don't know. She might have a little, I don't want to diagnose Zinnia with anything, but she might have a little OCD or something.
Okay.
Well, we know where it is. If we find a way, and that's kind of like the thing is, like, we put it in lead, we put it in the river. We know we have to figure out a way to destroy it, but for now we have it out of people's hands, and we can all work together to figure out a way to destroy it. It's something we can't. It's just not something we can do at this point in time. We have to literally figure out, research. It might take a lifetime to figure out how to.
Zinnia, you could go talk to the Fae Court. They're some of those most powerful people.
Yeah. That might be.
You can go talk to your wizard mentor.
Yeah.
So you definitely, I could see that. There's people you can talk to that are more powerful than you. Okay.
I think Isme would be doing a lot of history research about the machine and seeing it, because she has access to libraries and stuff like that, and seeing if she can find information, because Vezran had to find out about it somewhere. And I think she'd try to be researching to find out, if there's any history about.
I think we've stolen at this point like 3 separate magic libraries that are stored.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that we, in this format, it's harder to deal with. Magic books. Yeah. There's like a whole lot. 10 magic books you got from the Geller Keep.
Mm-hmm.
We can open a new library in our little town.
Good.
Make it a new center of learning.
You could put all the books in our little Humvee here. We could just keep it,
the
secure.
Library of Doom.
The Library of Doom. That's it.
Okay, so it sounds like this is one of those where the end of the movie, the company of heroes parts to return or travel about and go do their own things for a while. The future is uncertain.
It usually is.
It usually is. So we're going to spend a few more minutes just talking about more at a higher level of the season. You guys have any?
It was fun for us.
Yeah.
I did a little of like regular Pathfinder years ago, and of course, D&D 3rd and 3.5.
Yeah.
Which Pathfinder is currently based on. But there's still a lot of differences. So it was definitely a little bit of a curve, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think I got, it's still a little bit of practice trying to figure out how to do that. And
the P6 rules are, of course,
different.
Their own thing.
Yeah.
They are very different. And
yeah.
I doubt anybody listening would be like, oh, yeah, well, actually, except some of our players.
Yeah.
This was kind of an experiment, we've talked about it in the past, but if you hadn't gone to read them,
mm-hmm.
I think they're interesting. I do see some pros and cons with them. I think that at this level, because there's no constraints on
mm-hmm.
your spell casting, that even casting 3rd level spells and being able to just chain them
mm-hmm.
is really powerful.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Spamming fireballs is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of fun because, this, and I don't want to spend too much, but the whole idea goes back to this article that Gandalf was a 6th level wizard, right? It was
mm-hmm.
like written back like in the 70s or something. You could go
mm-hmm.
look it up.
I remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the idea that through all the Lord of the Rings based on somebody went through and looked at all the different spells and said, no, he never cast anything more than a 3rd level spell. That was the theory or the hypothesis. And thinking about that and what you can accomplish just casting 3rd level spells, like, I mean, you leveled. I mean, you guys took out like 40 something dwarves or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is powerful. I think there's some balance issues. I can definitely acknowledge that. It's kind of fun though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing a wizard in our game, and I'm enjoying it.
Are you playing a wizard in our game? That's a whole. Sorry,
that is
it's a whole other question.
It's obviously more of a challenge to be. You have to be definitely more creative. With how you build a character, and which I like. You get a lot of. I feel like sometimes like, I get a lot of spells or I get a lot of, and really getting rid of spell slots per level is
nice.
Allows you to be pretty powerful as a spellcaster, even at lower levels. But I'm excited to see where my next step goes when Cora decides to get big, and she's going to be a mount.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, game mechanics aside, I mean, so I really do. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, we had, before the season started, at the end of last season, we had cast changes, and you guys came in, and we hadn't even got to play with Derek and Jill before. So I'm still very thankful that you were like, sure, let's go try this nonsense and see how this goes.
I think we work well as a team.
Yeah.
We have a good balance, and we kind of understand what we're doing. We kind of are watching what each other are doing, and we kind of work well together. And that's the most important thing in a game, in a party. Because sometimes people, I don't know about you, Rochelle, some people just barge through a door without telling you, wizards will just do whatever they want without telling you. The best laid plans, I guess.
Yeah.
But overall, you guys are really a joy to.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
It's been fun. It's since the pandemic, we haven't been able to game because our campaign, of course, Matt was our DM, and the pandemic kind of just stopped everything. We tried doing it online, but it didn't work, and then it just kind of fell away. And it's like, we got stuff to do and we work, and then I said and so when Matt approached us and said, hey, they're doing this and it's a podcast, and what do you think? And we're like, okay, let's try this.
But you have another game now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's there's one that Jill is running in the family, and it kind of went on hiatus because
we moved.
Because we moved last year into a house. So that needs to be started back up. And then alternating Tuesdays, I run a game at the Dork Den, but I'm running it, not playing it. So
okay.
He is the DM.
Getting the chance to actually be a player is a rare one for me.
Same. It's a lot of fun. So I've been running a game for our group for like 8 years, but then we last year we started alternating the chair.
That's nice.
Yeah, and it has been a lot of fun. So we've had at least 2 other people step in so far and allowed me to finally get to live my P6 dreams with my character.
So I don't know how much longer we want to go on with this, but I do want to, the fairy is very different. It's not a standard, kind of character that you can play. And I've really enjoyed, I mean, obviously there's drawbacks to playing a tiny character, as we've discovered with my quest for a weapon.
Right.
But you have a force blade now.
I do, which is still doesn't do a ton of damage, but it's exciting.
Does more than what other
1 point.
Yeah, it does more than my 1 point. But I don't know. I found it to be really fun, and I don't know what other people's perspectives
are.
You
did a good job of playing it.
You did.
I had full faith in you that you would, in all honesty, because you are very creative with your makes. Every time it's ever played with you, you have a purpose with it, but you like to have fun with it too. So and I totally knew that you were going to nail it, and so you did.
Yeah.
But I have never met a fairy so murderous. I mean, what?
Yeah.
You certainly globbed onto the human perspective of things, I think, really quickly. I don't know if you felt like you needed to just to get along with everybody else in the group, but you certainly came from like thinking about when we first did this, you're just kind of like, you knew humans, but you're kind of in awe of how we did things, but you really took to the pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be surprised to see what happens when you go back to the forest. And
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Zinnia is going to feel about going back and interacting with Faye. But I mean, from a mechanical perspective, did you think the fairy is like
absolutely
problematic or okay?
No.
Okay.
It gets us out of situations because of your size.
Yep.
Like I think it's an advantage.
I mean, you have a little bit of chaos, but it's a fae, so there should be a little chaos with a fae.
And it periodically throws a big wrench in the DM's plans, which is always a good thing.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that because I try to analyze these things to see how they actually function, and I think the biggest drawback, thinking of it from a player's perspective, and you may not share that having played it, has to do with the mechanics of equipment. Because the game really, it's just not written to accommodate a tiny character.
No.
And I, as a player, like to acquire stuff. And I mean, I think you you kind of got a little detached, and it was nice. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah. It's been, that has been weird because like we're talking about all this stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, that ring is cool. But the rest of it, I'm like, yeah, I don't need anything.
Yeah, you have to play a special class, or you have to play a certain class.
Yeah.
You can't play a fighter. You can't play anything that would be, I mean, I don't even a ranger kind of be fun to watch, but...
so I'm going to counterpoint that.
Even like Druid.
Yeah. I'm going to counterpoint that because I have already thought, and I don't want to give her this idea. Well, we kind of.
Oh, no, please do.
I think a fairy rogue where the bulk of your damage is sneak attack would be hilarious and terrifying. Because coming in and be like, oh yeah, I do a point of damage plus 46.
Is there a sneak attack feat that you can get that's separate, like a fighting feat, the sneak attack that's separate from...
I mean, it would have been too big of a sacrifice for her for the wizard stuff. But if she'd have taken even one little dip, just to get an extra D6. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that there are a lot of classes that you could stack class damage on.
Yeah.
Because by default, your weapon die is a point. It's like 1d2 minus 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah.
But yeah, maybe you could do like a fairy barbarian and try to boost your. I think there's ways to actually even. You may never outdamage a medium creature.
I've always wanted to play a halfling barbarian in Pathfinder, but because I think it's just so funny to watch really.
Yeah,
I think halfling just Hulk out.
I think there'd be ways to make it work.
Yeah.
There was a spell I took at the final level that I didn't get a chance to use called Siphon Might.
Oh.
And I was hoping at some point to drain somebody's strength and give it to the fairy to see what 1d6 plus 3 extra strength to the fairy would do.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Well, could you get like, I mean, you're using dex, right, for your weapon?
Yeah.
I mean, you're pretty going to be dexed out. I mean, obviously you don't have the most ability scores, but having you don't get to add damage to that.
Correct.
She doesn't, but if you wanted to build a damage build,
you
could go finesse.
Right.
It takes a while to get there.
Sure. But you could make it,
Yeah, because you get finesse, and then you'd be like 5th or 6th level, or maybe higher. But there's slashing grace, which is add your dex to damage.
Oh, sure.
So if you had just had a dex monster, you would eventually I'm just imagining flying around like 1 plus 10.
It's constant.
Yeah.
That's a pretty flat damage curve there.
Yeah.
Just like zipping around.
Yeah.
It is always.
Would that be one attack you'd still, unless you picked the...
Well, if you did a dex fighter.
Yeah.
Or absurdly a dex 2-weapon fighter.
Mm.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna come back and she's gonna be wearing all black with like some emo, like some kind of like goth makeup. Hey guys,
I made a new character.
What the? No, it's me, Zinnia.
Because right now Zinnia has a 20 dex.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And does not wear any armor.
Do you feel like you've kind of hit a wall with the wizard point, or?
I mean,
just saying from like feats and like what you want to go your next step. Have you thought about?
I mean, since I can keep going. It's since we're just made 6, I think now it's kind of like, okay, now what else can I build out with the feats?
Right.
Yeah, it's really at that point, as I'm discovering, even just making, my wizard, it's a different game. Like, it really diverges from base Pathfinder because you get a feat every level at that point. So your base attack is stagnant. I mean, that it is what it is, and your hit points are pretty stagnant. But I've got like a list of 20 feats that I've looked at. Like, this could be really interesting if you could keep it going.
For some classes, I will say this much: playing 2 P6 games, like this, Daerun seems a lot like more fleshed out and much more powerful in many ways. Obviously, he's got wild shape and stuff. Then with the Necromancer, you kind of get. It's more limited, and I'm not saying I like playing the Necromancer, but just how, like, it's almost like I go down this road. Oh, wait, there's almost so many things that I want to do, and when the Necromancer becomes the healer of the group,
really dirty healing.
You feel filthy when you're done. Yeah, you need to take a shower.
Yeah, kind of, like literally and figuratively. Yeah.
And necromancers really get overlooked on like the what do you call it, the
tier list
or the swag, even like because I was looking I wanted to buy some stuff for our group that had like all of our classes on it, and then they didn't have necromancer, and I'm like, okay, well I can't do that then because that seemed crappy.
I will say I think Pathfinder or B6 is a way better job of creating the necromancers than 5e.
Yeah,
5e is
well, and just because if people are curious, I mean, because you're technically playing a cleric of Grodus with the undead lord archetype, which I think is I think that is the most terrifying quote unquote necromancer. Because you get so much you have an army of undead.
Yeah.
I try to limit it because when you're going in dungeons, it's not easy to. It's like herding cats sometimes because you want people to step in and do what they want to do. I don't want to stop a fighter from fighting,
But
I don't want to get in the way.
That is kind of where that, like,
great shields.
You could handle a lot more by yourself, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could go up to the graveyard and come back with a party. A party I don't care about that I'm willing to just replace at any moment.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. I do like playing him in a definitely role-playing way. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I liked Daerun. I've become very, very fond of his mentality. I thought it was going to be a lot more of a hardened kind of character, like be stubborn and stuff. I'm just kind of an old fart who just, can get grumpy. I get hangry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you all survived.
Yep.
I'm glad you didn't.
If I were Vestrin, I would have crushed Zinnia.
Yeah,
I totally would have.
I was so hesitant to not want to do anything, move, just touch that whole thing. And I was going to wait for you to get out of it because I didn't know what else to do. But I mean, Vestrin probably would have slit her throat or something, done something to her.
Well, so, okay. And I'll tell you, here was my thoughts. And this is where the mechanics of play have to inform like your actions, which, if this was a cinematic movie and I wasn't constrained by rolling dice, sure. Right. Yeah. Okay. You die. But the reality is he was down to 5 hit points. And even had he'd killed her, like there was no way to get away from Corda.
Yeah.
So when running those mental numbers, he was kind of assuming that because Zinnia did have to roll high, right, to get out.
Yeah,
is that he still had a couple rounds. He thought if he could have killed Corda, He might have been able to go invisible or run away, but there's no way to get away from a wolf that could outpace him and scent. Like, that was kind of that the numbers I was running. But then also, I don't think he could have actually done had he just done a coup de grace mechanically, he didn't have a weapon out.
Okay.
So he would have had to pull a dagger out.
Sure.
Technically. And even let's say even it had a dagger out, you basically get to roll a crit, and he's a wizard.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And I don't, then I didn't want to stop the game to see, can you coup de grace with a spell? I couldn't remember because I thought you actually couldn't. I feel like we specifically talked about that.
I think it's like a crit in that case of its
you did not let Zinnia do it. So I would have.
Yeah, right. We did look it up. So he could have just lightning bolted into you, but then that would have just been damage and that wouldn't have killed you. So I would have had to just pull the dagger out, done a crit, and he would have done like 10 points of damage. And then you would have had to make a forked save against, no, he would not have even done 10 damage because it'd be like D4 plus, it would have been D4 plus 1. The most damage he could have done on 2 4s would have been 10. It'd probably been like 5. And then you would have had you still had to make an okay fort save. But I think just mechanically, I think it would have failed. What's your fort?
My fort is terrible. I've got +2.
But the reality is, he didn't have a weapon out, so he would have had to done an unarmored attack, to pop your head off, and then we're talking. Then it's like
his physical strength.
Then it's like 1d2 plus 1 or something. Like it didn't make sense holding this little fairy, and why can't I just pop her head off? So that was where the rules, I felt like, and
it's an empty threat.
Yep. I'm just thinking of Mr. Burns level of just trying to squeeze Smithers.
Crush
this fairy for me.
I guess he could have. Yeah, I guess he could have handed it. Well, you guys were taking. Yeah, if he'd handed it to one of the dwarves, they could have maybe done it. But
that's why I went with that mind thrust in the hopes that I could finish him with no warning before he got a chance to.
It was very close.
It was close.
And then honestly, this is where I was quietly rooting for Zinnia when you rolled your damage dice, because then I thought, oh, that'd have been actually kind of epic. And then you only did 3, and I'm like, oh.
I didn't have that. I mean, it doesn't do that much damage. The max I can do with it is 5.
Yeah.
Unless I crit.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was only 1 away from a crit threat. So, but
yeah. Anyway, but that was why I was like, I think looking at possible ways of getting out alive, he had to take Horde out, and then that did nothing. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was trying to shoot he was going to shoot the lightning bolt
and
hoping to take out Corda and possibly me.
Yeah, if he took you 2 out, still had Zinnia,
as
a threat, he could have maybe tried to either make his escape or maybe then try to take Pike out. But we were still.
Mm-hmm.
For fairness, Corda still had 43 hit points left. She didn't get really beat too much, so I mean that would have been
even if he did 100% damage and she failed because he was rolling 76. So what is that? There 35? No,
42.
42. Yeah, he was done. That's why we play dice games.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, thanks we did end up talking an hour.
Yep.
Any last parting words? I don't know what's next for sure.
Yeah, I hope that people enjoyed it. I also hope that it opened people's eyes to P6 and that people are maybe willing to try it. I was very hesitant at the beginning, and Don can assure me that because I don't get to create awesome big OP characters because I like to build big characters. But it's kind of my own fault with my paladin. I apologize to anybody. But in the same, I really encourage people to check it out, because if you're sick of just playing the same thing and these are the rules, are always going to be the rules, and you want more challenge, just definitely does good. It's a challenge for the DM
Mhm.
and for the players.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think if you want a new challenge that necessarily say 5E is way too easy for me, but Pathfinder 2E not, or just Pathfinder, I just want to get something different. This is I really like this. As limiting as sometimes, it's really challenging, and I think it makes you think more as a gamer. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like it kind of, for me, breathed a little new life into the game because we've been playing Pathfinder First Edition for, I don't know, since it came out. 15 years? I don't even know how long. Whenever it came out.
Yes.
That's how long I've been playing it. However long that has been. I can't remember now. A long time.
Yep.
And who knows what we're going to play next. Do we want to talk about our little thing?
Sure.
So this show is going to be on hiatus. I don't know what a season 3 looks like right now. I don't have a specific plan. But we don't want to have dead air because I know people are still listening. So Rochelle and I are going to try something that I've never done.
I've never done.
Is we're going to do a solo game.
okay,
I've always wanted to try it.
Okay.
I hear it's kind of fun. I don't know. It's kind of fun. So we're going to take Zinnia on a solo adventure.
Which I have no idea what it's going to be about.
peace
Do
be
you?
with-
Do you have an idea?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
I am. It's a published adventure.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm a big fan of published material. I know some people aren't. I freely rip stuff off all the time and enjoy it. I mean, lots of elements of this campaign were pulled from different sources. Oh, I should probably say that. Specifically, the title of this episode, which is Doom Grinder, and the idea behind the big bad. Doom Grinder is I think it's a second edition adventure, a published adventure. That was the name of it.
Oh,
Okay.
I actually I picked this up a couple years ago at Half Price Books, and I saw the cover art. You may remember this, Rochelle, because we were actually in Texas. And I saw this cover. I'm like, oh, I've never heard of that, and it looks really pretty in the art. And I went and picked it up, and almost none of the story comes from that module, but it is about this super weapon. The idea of this giant tank, and it has this crazy wizard, Lysandrin the Red, or something like that. And there's an army of Darrow, which are like they're like dark
Underdark.
They're not regular dwarves. Yeah.
who are slavers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're all trying to get control over the. So there's like a lot of similar concepts, but it kind of ends there. But that was like, I read through that. I'm like, wow, this is neat. It's a neat idea. And I took that and I reskinned it and rewrote it and created this big bad that ties in with the bigger stories in this world.
You did a good job. He's a jerk.
Yeah.
I didn't like him at all.
Yeah.
So you did a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he was the villain, but there's like, he had a very specific, like, it wasn't just villainy. He's out. I mean,
was out
to help his people. Like, it wasn't just, I'm not in it for power or greed. Like, he had very specific personal motivations. And I don't know. I kind of liked, for me, he had a depth that was kind of fun to play with. He had a certain space that I found interesting to occupy.
Just imagine all the friends he could have made if he did it the right way.
Yeah.
You know, all the power that he has. He could have just, if he did it the right way, the friends that he could have had, but.
Well, I mean,
the real adventures, the friends we make along the way.
I say, don't forget, it's a one person, but it's also, let's not forget Nipper.
Yeah.
Let's give Nipper some love.
Yeah.
Because Nipper's going to be part of the adventure too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
That's right.
That's true.
Nipper's going to
I'm sure she's going to find a way to get your goat.
With Zinnia.
Yeah. So
that'll
be coming. Looking forward to it.
And just as a side note, no, I can't remember every book you buy because you buy so many.
You remember that one time?
Well,
No.
like literally on Friday, I'm like, oh, there's a package. Oh, feels like books. Yeah. No way.
We can have a discussion about mini addiction offline.
Yeah.
So many books, so little time to read them.
Yeah. No, man.
I do have a little pile to sell, though. I have some to sell.
Okay, whatever.
That's encouraging.
Yeah. There's growth.
That's what an addict says.
Exactly. Oh, I'm going to sell these so I can buy some more. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
Well,
listen
right.
for the one wizard fairy show.
Yep.
I'm kind of nervous, but it'll be interesting.
I think it should be fun. So yes, coming soon is a fairy tale.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like it.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody.
All
Yeah.
right.
Thank you.
Take care.
And we're going to call that a wrap.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.